wherever you are, wherever you do, you know that there is an inner space for rising of responses, unconditioned by the programmed mind. There is an inner silent place from which everything, both form and action that the One wishes to manifest through you, stem now, loving-heartedly and correctly. There is this inner space, this inner dimension, the kingdom of heavens inside the human body. Better even, all over it, in and out, is the kingdom of silence. And when silence comes, she comes not alone. Let us tune with this. I wake up in the morning, often already with a fuss in my head, with a confused mind, triggered by the previous night's imaginary projections and dreamy stories. I don't know what was going on during nighttime. I haven't entered through that door yet. Sometimes I wake up in peace, as if during the whole night something in me had been floating in peace. I am completely worthless in manifesting comprehension of the mental mechanism at night. From the mental fuss, I choose to fall down in the heart space. I observe mental movements, but it is only there, within the heart space, in the silence, that peace arises as a companion. It is where the Divine One speaks and communicates with the human vehicle, secretly, silently, through an inner, impeccable mechanism. Silence comes, and she comes not alone. Midday is there. We have been given innumerable tools in search of the silence: prayer, meditation, fasting, mindful movement. As a child, I spontaneously practiced the natural action, stillness, presence triangle. I practiced spiritual communication and the touch of the divine in everyday life, moment by moment, now by now, out of mental fuss. As a grown-up, barriers are there. Silence left and took with her the direct communication to the flow, to the one will of the one consciousness. But the struggle of the divine to align me as a triad, body, mind, soul, never stops. There is no human, no living being or occurrence that does not naturally wish to serve as a messenger of the divine, as a direct vessel of communication with the divine, as an instrument or a servant of the One. And as a human, I can consciously practice spirituality in silence. This is where I get immersed in the wish of the One, by getting rid of my compact, acquired human self, getting back to the divine silently. I am in union now, in communication with the whole. In the afternoon I see the myth. I come back to my mental space. Silence disappears. True silence disappears. Even if I choose to stay away from the world and isolate it to conquer it with spiritual practices that boost my ego instead of bringing me in a silent mode, practices that I can share thereafter with friends at social media. But why? Why shall I be alone in silence? Why is that? I can hear everything around me and within me. I am not the cause of the noise that exists. I do not disturb others, and others do not disturb me. And in my head, there is a constant chit-chat. I am a noisy me, at the service of all noises, constantly surrounded by fuss, and even in fuss while in seemingly silent mode. What can I do? This is not a dead world I live in. I cannot be cut out of the world. because noises are everywhere, are here and there and all over. I breathe in and I breathe out. If I don't know how to pray in silence, I come back to my mental space. Any moment. Let me invite the quality of silence in my life. By praising it, silence will come. And she shall not come alone. She comes out of love as an inner necessity, as a spiritual discipline that brings about wonders. Stay out of the noise with tightness, saying, now I have to walk like this, so as not to disturb my own existence and that of my brothers and sisters. Now I must walk lightly and not leaving a single noise behind. I will do it with my heart, with joy, because in silence I communicate with Goddess. Come back to the inner space, to physical perceptions. I will breathe, walk, sit and stay in still mind by observing incoming thoughts. How different does this feel, acting through external silence and finally receiving her to my own heart. Once she responds to the call through practice of awareness, presence and prayer. The evening embraces me. I'll give myself an example. Nomads die in silence. We must love the blessed desert, they say, and respect it if we want her to help us too with her desolation and sweetness. If we want her to calm us down, to date us like a passionate lover, to deprive us from useless attachments called naively passions. Nomads die on foot to approach the divine. Goddess gives them the gift of the silent ritual. The holy, the spirit sings within their heads, praising hymns to the Creatrix. You need to be careful not to adjust the holy desert to your passionate self. Not be going endlessly to spiritual retreats with a lot of external silence and large chit-chats during breaks. This is a great disrespect to Her Lady, the Silence, as if you were going on a pilgrimage to the holy desert and wanted to stay in a 5-star hotel. The desert is a spiritual mistress that does not sleep in impressive bedsheet. Her time is not the hollow nor the shiny. Surrender to what is right for your own measures. Quietly accept, without aspirations for holiness, your human imperfection to contain pure silence. Otherwise, it will be to the detriment of soul and body. A mental construction that one can by him herself achieve something. No, the you cannot achieve anything. In the genuine pleasure of silence, there is the pleasure of the one. No need to be careful, no need to purify silence. Silence comes, and she comes not alone. She brings along the pleasure of oneness. Heart prayer to the One, for all humans to float in the silence of the divine word of the One, in the many gifts and dimensions that the One is expressed in silence. It is not here, it is not there. It is in peace and inner stillness. For all humans to recognize when and how we're hit by the fuss under the influence of mental noises, and give again back to silence the right conditions for her to flourish, to get down to humanity, and she shall not come alone. Dear diary,